Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and part 2 of the Puma revival series. As you can see, we're sitting in the Puma at the moment. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, why is he spending all that time on a yellow old rusty Puma? What's the point in that? Well, if you see my first video on the Fiesta, you'll know how long I've owned that car for, and the Puma is a similar situation. You see a trend happening here, can't you? So I've had this car since 2005, January 2005 to be exact, so 16 years ago. It had 18,000 miles on it when I bought it, and it's on 126,000 now. So I've done well over 100,000 miles in it myself. Other cars have come and gone since I've had the Puma, and it's always stayed for whatever reason, whether it's just fun to drive or I'm holding on to my youth. I had hair when I bought this car, so you know, that's the reason I'm spending the time to get it back up to scratch. So lots to do. We need to crack on with this front end. Let's get started. Right then, you would have seen in that bit of time lapse there me drilling again. Basically I was drilling out the spot weld holes on the chassis legs, which is to allow me to weld them from the back, because obviously the front is double skinned and I don't want to touch that because that's all in one piece. And also the corners of the front panel, where I showed you in the last video, those very difficult spot welds to get to. I've actually drilled them out now so I can weld them from this side. You can see there's two holes. I'm going to weld up the holes on the inside of the front panel, so I can then plug weld through from this side to allow a strong weld on there. Also on this inner wing, you see a little bit of paint damage here. There was a slight bend, little sort of bend outwards this way, which was on there. That literally took about 4 taps of a hammer, and to get that curve back right again in there, I used this metal bar and just, as I say, tapped on that a few times as well, and the curve of that bar is pretty much identical to the curve of the panel underneath, so that gave it the form back to make it the right shape again. So next step is, I think I'm going to try and fit the wing and the bumper with it just clamped on with 4 lots of clamps like this, because that way if I do need to move it for any reason, I've got the flexibility there rather than tack welding it on straight away. So next thing will be to get the wing and bumper, as I say, and then we'll go from there. Okay, you would have seen from that bit of time lapse there, the wing and the bumper going on. They're bolted on, not obviously with all the bolts, but I've got 4 in this wing, 2 in the top, 2 under here. Not worried about the back end yet, because obviously that I can sort that later. 2 bolts in the front cross member in the bumper. They went straight in, no problem at all. Fitted in the holes lovely, so I know that that's all good. This side, you can see when I hold that up, once it's bolted to the wing, it is virtually there. It wants to go back probably about 3 or 4 mil maybe. So what I'm going to try and do is dress the chassis end, the little tabs on the end of the chassis end. I'm going to just try and dress those back just slightly, just a little nick, a little bit more, so the front panel can go back very slightly. Bear in mind I've just got this clamped on at the moment, so I can move it where I need to go. The other side is very good actually. It's all right once you hold that up. Can't really see it very well, but hang on a second. Once that's held up, that's obviously it's not bolted in yet, but that will, once that's bolted together, it will close that gap up, and that will be nice and uniform all the way along there. So that side's good to go, I'd say. So just the other side wants a little bit of tweaking, and we'll be somewhere near in the right place, hopefully. Good stuff. What do you think of that then? I call that a win. Now, I didn't actually have to do anything with the end of the chassis ends. All I did was readjusted the 2 bolts that are in here on the wing, and readjusted the 2 bolts on the top, moved it forward very slightly and down very slightly, and as you can see there now, that lines up with the end of that wing absolutely lovely. Unfortunately the wing has got a very slight little ding in it there, which was there when I got it. This is a second-hand wing, obviously it's an original wing, so it's 20 odd years old. And the front looks like it sticks up, but it doesn't. It's sort of, I think once the headlight's in, that'll be absolutely fine. Unfortunately there's a couple of chips on the bumper, as you can see, but those will get just touched in for now, so that they are yellow and not noticeable. I'm not going for perfection as far as paintwork at this stage. It's just going to be back to a nice running car again for now. Maybe one day in the future I'll do a full resto on it, but at the minute we're just going to get it back on the road so I can enjoy it. So I think we're all right. Next thing to check is the bonnet. We're going to get the bonnet catch on and make sure the bonnet shuts all right and lines up with the wings, and go from there. Okay, I don't know if this is going to work, because obviously this is only clamped on in a minute, and it may not take the bonnet shutting down on it, as it might move obviously. So got the bonnet locked, 3 bolts hold it on, or 3 Torx bits. It's cable operated. The cable slots in the top, so that slot there, and you've got like this little plastic wedge which fits into the lever when you open them from the bonnet from the inside. Pretty simple, as long as that goes in the gap, which it does. So we'll bolt that on, and we'll obviously lower the bonnet down gently to see if we're in the right vicinity as far as central. We've got obviously a little bit of play on this because it's got square holes in the lock which allow for movement and adjustment once it's on. Be nice if it fitted first time, but I doubt it will. But you never know. We'll probably get away with just doing 2 bolts for now, because we're only testing it. Just as long as it holds it solid. Like that. Take out the wooden prop. See if it lines up. Well, I wasn't expecting that. I'm quite chuffed with that. It is high, but that is bob on central where it wants to be. It even pops open. That's amazing. That is honest God's truth. Not tried that at all. That is straight in, just with you watching now. So it wants to go down a little bit, which we can do because it's got adjustment on it. We'll go right down and see what happens. If it's too high still, then obviously we've got some adjustment to do on the front panel. Let's try that. Well, it is a little bit high on that wing there, but that may be because of the adjuster on the bonnet. It's got plastic winders on the inside of the bonnet, which you can wind in and out to stop the bonnet rocking when you're going along. So if I can adjust those in a bit, just to allow the bonnet to go down a little bit more, that may do it. Lovely. Okay, I'm a happy boy. Yes. As you can see now, I'll grab the camera in a second and show you. Got the levels of the wing to bonnet. Lovely, lovely and smooth, in line both ends. The bumper still pushes up nice and tight. Same the other side. Now what it ended up being was, it wasn't the stops on the bonnet, it was actually this front panel. It's in the correct position, but it very slightly twisted forward, which was raising the bonnet slightly. So I've just given it a little twist back, and the spot welds again now line up in the correct position on the inner wings, so they're in the original position. And now, as you can see, it shuts lovely. The gaps here are nice, it's level with the bumper. Let me grab you, I'll show you. So you can see there, look, lovely and level. The bumper, lovely and level. Same that side, and same up there. Now the wing gaps are slightly, that one's slightly wider than the other side, but obviously these final adjustments can be done once it's completely on there. I just wanted to get it close so that I knew the front panel was roughly in the right place, or pretty much in the right place. A lot of you are going to be wondering, why have I got half a shiny bonnet and half a dull bonnet? Well, that's because I just couldn't wait and I wanted to polish the bonnet up to see what it come up like, and now you can see half and half. It's quite a good comparison, really. Shows you what oxidization, I can't even say it, oxidization does if you leave your unlacquered car out in the weather for however long. So yeah, very pleased. So I think now is the time to get a few tacks on it, and we'll try the headlights in just to make double sure they fit okay, and then we'll get it fully welded. Top banana. Alright, so we're tack welded on the tops of the chassis legs and on the inner wings here. That's all I've done so far, just to obviously make sure everything's right. Bumper's back on, that fits okay. A little bit of adjustment to the wings, but that'll be fine. Just thought I'd show you quickly these headlights. Obviously these are all taken apart at the moment. Not very often you see Puma headlights in their component stage, if you like, but I took these apart because when I got them, they were in a bit of a bad state. The outside needed refurbing, which I have actually done, but as you can see, dust on them. They probably might want doing again because they've been sitting around with stuff on top of them and all that. And they were full of condensation. So I took them all apart, dried them all out nice. So you've got the main body here, which is where your bulbs go. Bulbs go in the back there, behind that cover. You've got the lens, these trim strips which go around the top, they need to be glued back on. They actually came off my old headlights because they're in better condition than the ones that are on these ones. This sealing strip which goes on the inside of that recess there which seals to the back of the lens, and these brackets which go onto the actual front panel itself, and then when you put the headlights in, you actually put the headlight in the hole, and then you lock them in with this special, it's like a lock tab. So you can see this bar that runs along here, it's got a sliding section there. Just move a bit closer so you can see. Got a sliding section there, so you slide that into the bracket on the front panel, you turn this, it locks it in, and then you put one screw through there, and that's what locks it into the car. So you need to get these put back together, and then we can try them in, make sure they're all right, and then carry on welding. Okay, I just wanted to show you the way that the bracket goes in for the headlight on this. You can see there's a black rubber bung on the inner wing here. That corresponds to this peg. And that slots into there. Just pushes in, like that. And you have to loosen the bumper slightly to get this to just fit in behind like that. Oh look, someone's left 2 bolts there for me, that's handy. So it just bolts in, 2 10mm, one there, one there, and we can get the headlight put in once I've bolted these up. Simple as that. I'll do this bit in real time just so you can see it going in. There we go, and the bumper just sits over the top of it like that, you see. And then all you do, you've got one torque screw here, and the other torque screw in that dial I showed you earlier, which needs to be open, just like that. And that, fingers crossed, will just slot in. Now obviously I haven't put the torques in there yet, so that's not locked in, but it's locked in this corner here. And I do the bumper up as well to obviously make sure that it lines up with the bumper, so we'll do that now. Back in a mo. I've got something that resembles a car again. Well, sort of. Yeah, I know the gaps aren't quite right, the bumper's not bubbled on the sides, but proof of concept, the headlights, bumper and bonnet all fit on the front panel where I've tacked it on. So I'll get all that fully welded on off camera. There's no point in you watching me do that, you've already seen me do a bit of welding, it's just the same again. So next episode we'll get the areas I've welded, primed and painted, get them protected. Then we can think about getting the rads in, fan, water pipes, wiring, basically everything on the front panel back on, all the air guides. Once that's all in, it's a lot easier obviously to do with the bumper and the headlights out. Then we can refit the outside for good, get everything lined up nice, all the gaps right. And then, it's not quite MOT time yet. You thought I was going to say it, didn't you? No, we have got some other jobs to do on this car yet, which will obviously be in future episodes as well. So, all being well with this going okay, we can roll through the other jobs as well. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's watching. Hit that thumbs up if you don't mind, and if you want to subscribe, that'd be great as well. Until the next one, I'll see you then. Cheers guys.